That was actually Jace pre-show, so I had to kind of simmer him down a little bit. So he had the blasters going off, his lightsaber fired up. So welcome, everyone. Welcome,
Yeah.
Jace. How's it going tonight?
Welcome. It is going well. There
Okay.
has been yeah, it's been a good day. Had the day off from work just to do studying, so
Okay. Nice. I also was not at work today. Wasn't well. Technically, I wasn't at work, so it was a day off. But I was home. I had have a sick child who's working her way through some new medications. So hopefully, she'll be able to. We got the regiment down. We had to test for the side effects, make sure there was no adverse effects. So worked our way through that. So I worked from home for the entirety of the day. So it was less off than I would like, but it was important nonetheless to take care of a baby. So my wife took her turn the previous day. So that's how that works. So neither Jason nor I went to work today, but we I
we're just
imagine
slackers. Just
I'm
a
sure
couple of
well
slackers.
he studied and I worked. So yeah, it was it's how that went down. So well, welcome everyone. I appreciate that thumbs down. Thank you for whoever did that. Probably a Bernard in there. So because we have unpainted minis. Jace is assembling some Black Suns, but they're not painted, so he's going to get a thumbs down on that.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
not painting them fast enough. So yeah, so tonight we're gonna be talking about a few things, and maybe some feelings will be kind of shared, and we'll preface this with no intent to give anyone bad feelings or anything like that. We are full of opinions as we always are, but I think we're going to be a little bit more on the tethered side, and coming from different perspectives here in terms of our approach and opinion on this. But of course, we got some new drops today, so we'll talk a lot about that as well. A little recap of where we're at in the league, and then we're going to talk about Legion fixes. So that's where the feelings could come in, of course. Thank you for converting that thumbs down to a thumbs up. Appreciate that. And so, yeah, we're going to keep it to 90 minutes tonight. So we're going to leave as much roundtable time because I think there will be lots to share. So hopefully we can get some folks in tonight. And if we think the roundtable is going real good tonight, Jace, I'm going to let Jace be the decider of that. Feeling pretty generous tonight, Jace. I think we give a set of card sleeves away tonight. Full set.
You bet.
Full set.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can do that. So we'll talk a little bit about that. There's not many sets left, so that's why I'm kind of feeling like we'll get one out there. So yeah, so like I said, a few topics tonight. IG units stand down. Of course, that goes with the conversation of the AMG drop today, but also maybe a little bit in terms of community, public opinion, all the things. Like I think it's really easy for us to get worked up about little things, and I, from my background, I think that's a pretty common thing. And I'm not suggesting that people are, or but we've all experienced. Jace would probably know in his realm. We've all experienced a little bit of reaction to things in the last couple of years. Let's say COVID, for example. Lots of
Oh yeah.
opinions about how to properly do this and that, and what is right and what is wrong, and what is too much and what's not enough. And we've had a lot of that. There's no shortage of opinions around a lot of things. But in the interest of being positive and productive and moving in the right direction. I think sometimes we have to maybe tether back our raw emotions and then be a little bit more, as I like to say, solution focused. And talking about a problem ad nauseum doesn't make the problem generally go away. And in fact, I think we should spend less time talking about a problem and more time talking about solutions. And sometimes the solutions are easier said than done, and sometimes the solutions are a bit more work. So an overarching conversation tonight around that. So that's partially what we're going to talk about tonight. In addition, of course, Friday Night Fights, just a small caveat on this. We are going to make a small amendment to this. It's going to be Saturday night/day fight, and I will give you a timing update. Just a scheduling conflict with Big Jace getting here, and we were going to do that this week, so we're going to keep that. We just are probably going to bump that to a Saturday, which maybe is good for some folks who can't necessarily always tune in on the Friday. So I will update you via the Discord and maybe a Facebook post, etc., as to the timing of that. But just look for that. We'll bring it to you. It'll just be one day removed from the regular timing. And then additionally, of course, we're going to bring you some updates. Round 6 has started in the league, the last round. I have played 0 games, so my this week in Legion or last week in Legion is going to be basically vicariously through my group. I'll give some shout outs and I'll give some call outs and maybe stir some pots in my group. But my elite group has started up. I'm in the big one, big 6 player group, and scary lists. Now that they're out, I'll talk a little bit about that in terms of my last week in Legion. So, Jace, why don't you start off though with what your last week looked like, and of course it can be the thing that you did 5 seconds ago, which is assemble whatever you're assembling tonight. So why don't you talk about that?
Yeah, you bet. So besides last week's Friday night fight, which we'll get to in a bit, my last
Mm-hmm.
week in Legion has consisted of approximately 25 minutes of assembling Black Suns.
Okay, nice. They're
Yep.
huge, eh?
They are massive.
Yeah.
They are, yeah, I am very surprised by their size.
Are you going full super glue top off, dip into the bottom of the bottle there?
Yeah,
Okay, I would be like so dead right now if I was doing that. So that stuff I have to be really careful of. Jace is just going
it's just
full.
too, just too
Jace is
thick,
not
too
does
thick.
not have any parental supervision right now, so he is he's may not make the end of the cast. So if he drops off, we'll know exactly why. So yes, look at that guy. Look at that me. Hold that bottle up right now. He's going straight maniac mode right now.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, 1 second. Just gotta get this head on.
Sorry, the parental mode just kicked in, and that's not as recommended. But I do
Yeah.
appreciate that you are.
Huh.
Look at this guy. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Forget
I
that
mean,
they give you a tapered lid, and can you just not get the glue out at the end, or what's happening right now?
no, the top like glued itself together.
Yes, I've seen this story with Jace.
Yeah.
Things
Like,
always seem to glue themselves together when Jace is around. So yeah.
so
Yeah, the door is closed for added non-ventilation, so very great. Do you have a window in there?
yes, I do. There is
It's
a window
closed.
right there.
It's closed.
No, no, it is slightly open.
Okay, great. So we may get through it. This can be not 91 minutes. It can only get to 90 minutes at this point. So all right, for Jace's safety, we'll continue. So, all right, well, let's get into a few of the things, the housekeeping stuff, and then we'll get back into all the things. So, hey, if you're looking to find us, and maybe Jace won't be there if he continues with this, gluing effort, but you can find
You'll
us
find
next
everybody
week
but me.
on the Star Wars Legion Facebook page at Friday Night Fights. You can find me on the Patreon, as well as some content on there, and I'll talk a little bit about that. It's not going to be Star Wars related, but I will tell you about that, and that's www.patreon.com/the Train Studio. And I appreciate the support, folks. So this show is actually powered by that. So if you didn't know that, well, now you do. So you guys can jump over there. You can jump on one of the levels if you want to help us out. That is always awesome. You can find us on the Twitter and the Instagram. I think Brian got some stuff on the Instagram this week. I
I
saw
think you
some
did.
stuff on there. So they're both at Legion_FNF. If you're looking for us on there, we have some stuff up. So we'll do the shout outs here in one moment. So keep them coming. If you're just checking in, let us know. Put your name in there if you want to tell us where you're from. That's also awesome. If you guys are curious, we do have the card sleeves, and we'll give a set away tonight if we feel like our roundtable is fantastic, which I'm anticipating that it will be. But there's only going to be 5 spots left, so if you want to jump in there, you can. The instructions are on the site there. When you jump in, if you're wondering about the cost of them, it's for the cost of the card sleeves plus the content that you get at the tier 3 as well. The shipping is covered for you, so all that's kind of taken care of in that one tier. So it's just an added perk. It won't always be a thing. You don't get it every single month, but we do have that added perk in there just to do entice some people to come hang out as well. You get some one-on-one time if you have any projects you need consult on. That's added in there, as well as the access to the video content if you're interested in all of that. The videos do become free, so if you're not a patron and you're not supporting that way, you're in luck. The videos will come out to you. We do that as well. And last but not least, I talked about this last week. I have to do one more tweak to this. They're a little worried that the activation might not be bold enough, so I might just change the type font on that and get it a little bit bolder, but I think I'm nearing completion. They will print however I send, but they're just, I mean, these are the experts. They know what's going to come out and look sharp and what's going to look best. And so I'm going to do that small change, and then they're going to send me a set of the tokens, and probably just going to print one of each. So I have a full sample. I don't have to, they're like, don't waste your money on getting, 5 of the same type. We'll get them in your hand. We can see what they look like. You guys can be the judge of it. Then when you like it and you like it, it makes ordering that much easier. So we do have that. So what else we got going on here? So yeah, Star Wars Legion. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
We got maybe a new viewer in there. All right, and let's talk a little bit about the Patreon, and then I'll jump back and we'll get into the shoutouts. So if you are interested, I'm going to be doing a little bit of something different, but why I'm sharing this on here is because the techniques are really applicable across a multitude of projects. So I will be working on a Shire project. So a 6x4 table for the Lord of the Rings game, and it's going to be modular in a sense. It's going to be done in tiles, but a little bit different. It's going to be straight foam and not a wood-based system. And it's going to have a ton of green. So if you guys have been tired of making things that are not green, like I have been lately, I'm going to be moving over and doing a whole heck of a lot of greenery work. So stay tuned to hear a lot of updates about Gamer's Grass, because I'm going to be using a ton of it on there. But I'm also going to be scratch building some hobbit holes, doing some hills, and really working with foam. So if you want to know about foam topography and making non 2D planes for terrain and how to do it in a modular system, that might be of interest, and that will be the basis of the project. Most of that will get going here tail end of September and through October, and then we'll start laying some groundwork on and doing a whole bunch more work with sculpt mold, paste, etc., doing some trees and all that good fun stuff. So you guys can follow along the project over at the Terrain Studio Patreon. So there is that. So all right, Jace, let's jump back a little bit. We'll walk through a couple more housekeeping items. So why don't we jump back and why don't you lay the preview, I guess, for the Friday night fights, and then we'll jump over to have a couple screen caps from the game itself. So, first, sorry, not to cut you off, we better do the shout outs. So, you want to rip through? Can you see them? Do you want to rip through them, or do you want me to do them?
I can only see the ones from when we started going live.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Bernard's at the top.
Yeah. So, no, I got Andrew at the top. So I got. But Bernard's here. We got Andrew here. Canadian Bear saying evening. Aaron's checking in. Stan, of course, is checking in, thinking that we're a fake show. Striker's here. Chronic Canuck, of course. Jake Witt, Mr. Witty's here. Hello, Richard. Good to see you. JD Nielsen's joining us. Justice is as well. I saw he was posting about when we were going live, so he was repping and ready for our show.
Yep.
And hopefully maybe a new viewer, as pooped by Anakin Skywalker. Welcome. Yes, this is 100% about Star Wars Legion, so you are at the right place if that's what you're looking for. And good evening to Anthony Allen, Mr. Frizzle, and yeah.
I want to give a shout out to my group here. I think that they're all coming in looking for intel, because I got Justice here, JD here, Anthony here, Canadian Bear here, and Jake Witty's here. I think my entire pod is actually in this podcast right now. I know they're looking.
I think they were last week too.
They're looking for all the tech. Probably going to get none of it, because I don't actually have any, and I'm not sure how I'm going to face any of you, but I'm going to talk a little bit about it, and that'll be my sort of last week in Legion. But let's kick it back to Jace. So previous intro there, Jace. Why don't you preview the Friday night fight, and then we'll get into look at some screen caps.
Yeah, so last Friday night fight was a classic matchup of me versus Anthony. I was playing the last battle force that I have yet to play, which was Echo Base. So I had, of course, I had to try out the quad Tauntauns, tested out some up close and personal. Newsflash, nope. There's better upgrades. Was not useful.
Jace single-handedly killed the sales for the Echo Base defenders.
Just for up close and personal on Tauntauns. Like, after playing the game, endurance would have been much better. Tenacity would have been much better. Even situational awareness. Although, actually, I was using pretty much every dodge token I could get there. So,
yeah.
Okay,
but well, let's
go check it out. It was a massive whooping.
Let's just slide over to the highlights here. So If you guys, we won't spoil the whole game, but if you guys want to go check it out, it's episode 66. We also got a little bit of a rip on one of the other friendly discords that episode 66 no gar, people were quite disappointed, so I just said we suck, and that was the only answer I had. Just own that. But the game was fine. The table looked good. We had mostly painted stuff, which was nice, and we're working towards that. We're working towards that. It's hard when we're constantly
Yeah.
changing lists and we're not perfecting anything, because you guys want us to do like everything all the time, and there's like, we can only have, I mean, the Jaces can only paint so fast. So
Yeah, we're
they're only two people, and then Anthony's working on getting his stuff done as well. So hey, now Striker's in there. Behold all the highlights of Jace losing axe. So
yeah.
don't spoil too much. If you're
No.
wondering why that little box existed below me as empty, that's because no one wanted to cast that night. But no, in truthful, they were playing, and I was solo casting. But yeah, the lists are there. They were fun lists. I actually thought both lists were good. I just think that, play the game 10 times. I don't think you see the same result, but I think they were a bit more even. But mission deployments, a few X factors here and there do oftentimes determine a game. But have a look
Yep.
at it. It's pretty fun, with the double bounty hunters out there. Pike's doing Pike's things. We had a double
Yeah,
officer.
Pikes and Empire are good.
I mean, Pikes in general are pretty good. So little bit of a turn zero uphill battle with Jason. I mean, I think even Anthony, who's in chat right now, will kind of tell you, like, sometimes the turn zero just makes it a hard fought battle. So yeah, it was, the Tons like the warmer climate as well. Anthony, they actually go south for the winter and then back to the cold for the winters. It's weird. Yeah, these Tons are,
Yeah.
they were a bit strange. I actually think that they might have suffered from heat stroke during the game as well. Just a little foreshadowing there how the Tons did. So, yeah, that's how that works. So, yeah, fair enough. Canadian Bear knows where it's at. So go check out episode 66 if you guys want to. It's on the Train Studio YouTube channel. We won't tell you the whole game, but yeah, it's fun. We always have fun, and you guys know we do. We also gave away 6 alt art cards at the courtesy of Dice Time, so give them a listen. Episodes are also available on the channel. So got a lot of great comments about the Cad Bane, the Bosk, and the Boba Fett. So we do have more. So don't think that we're done giving those away. So yeah, lots of fun stuff. So all right, let me talk a little bit about my last week in Legion, and we'll get into the other things and make sure we leave some time for roundtable. We don't have a lot to kind of get through, but we do want to talk about the IG-88 and the IG-11. But yeah, so Jace, my pod is pretty stacked, as mentioned.
Yeah.
We have several, well, obviously, players who have done and had some success in the league, which is great. I've squared up against a few of them, but not squared up against all of them, which is great. And I've played none of them in this round, so I have a busy 3 weeks. So I feel like I'm going to be sort of spits and spurts, and maybe playing several games in a short span. But my pod also feels like they want to go 3v1, so yeah, that's fine. Whatever, come at me, bro. So I think we have 2 Gar, 2 Rebel, and 2 CIS lists. No Empire in the entire pod.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think we got like some triple flutters. We have some. What else do we have in there? I'm just trying to think about all the lists now. Triple flutters for sure. We got double snail. That's a thing in there.
Ooh, that's a cool one. Is that yours?
That is not mine. I was totally fibbing. I'll tell you what my list is in a second, though. I want to just quickly go and give. Is it 3 Gar? Is it 3 Gar? Oh, maybe it is 3 Gar. I'm gonna just run real quick, grab my lists here real quick, or the list in the pod. So Canadian Bear, he's rocking the double snail, which is fun, super fun. So double snail, triple sab commandos, 2 full one strike team. So that's really unique. I'll tell you what I'm going to play, because it's maybe a sad matchup for him versus me, but it doesn't mean he's not going to win, that's for sure. Then we got another Gar list. It's double Wookiee battle shields with a chieftain, and then a shooty Wook, and then 3 fluttercrafts. So that's nasty. That's like Michael's, basically really similar to Michael's list. Then of course we have Justice. He's running the Nemesis list, the 8-act Hell, there you go, Jake. There you go. Two Gar. I had it right. He's running the Yoda, Chewie, double Shooty Wooks, and then the Battle Shield Wook. So just a flip flop of lots of Wookiees, which I don't
Lots of
necessarily love.
Wookiees.
Then I think this one here is Anthony's running Han, Op Luke, a Chewie, double Mark II, fleets, double vets, and double strike teams. So that's nasty. And then the last one, last one, JD come in with his posted. So JD teching hard against us. Just kidding. He had it submitted early. I'm just saying because he came in late with it. It's a Cassian K2 officer, 5 Rebel DLTs with captains, with prepared supplies, with situational awareness. Gross. Yep. Yeah, real gross. And then just for funsies, he's got 3 strike teams. So just counting there, Cassian, 5 rebels, and then the 3 strike teams. That's like 9 range 4 units. Seems real good. Doesn't like to be
Hope
up
you
close
like
and
plink damage.
doesn't like to be up close and personal at all there. So
not
and then
at
I
all.
just came in with the stock standard CIS list of version that I've been running for the entirety of the league, because you guys know me, I can only play one thing and I'm not creative enough to do anything different. But I'm running a Kalani, 4 PK droids. Well, obviously it's a PK droid, and then they have 6 B1s as buffer around them. So that's basically how that unit works. Then I got a naked B1 with a comms relay. I got triple Magna RPS with situational awareness, because that's just fun. And then I'm running double spiders with attack and ions and link targeting array. So so I am I think the biggest ACK list at 11, but I'm the only 800. So everyone in my group has decided to go bids. So I'm going to basically be red unless anybody wants to just give me red for funsies. But sounds like I'm going to be at the whim of all the decks that are in there. So, but with Wookiees on the table, I feel like I'm going to share some similar missions with some of them.
Likely, yeah.
I don't think JD and I are going to have any of the same choices, so that's going to be a bit of a tough one. So JD's going to just make me run after him, which sadly I'm going to have to. So there's that. And I don't know what Anthony's going to take for his. He's kind of seems like he wants to kind of mix it up a little bit in the middle with a Luke and a Han. So I got to deal with that. And the Fluttercrafts are just going to come over and bomb me and make me displace like 300 droids a turn. So that's going to be fun. So looking forward to all of those games. So yeah. Jake says I'm not going to get blue player with him. Well, that's fine. I wanted red. That's why I took 800 points. So we're in agreement there, Jake. So so Jace, I'll give you the updates on the losses as I stack them up here in round 6. So stay tuned for that.
Definitely.
Yeah, the funsies. All right, well, let's get into a couple things. We'll thank some of our donators and get into some of our sponsors at the end. But hey, I want to give a shout out to Todd. Todd came out with a nice Friday Night Fights donation last week, which was fantastic. And then I want to thank welcome James Webster, who bumped up his Patreon from the lowest tier to the highest tier. So welcome James Webster. Thank you. And you guys worked real hard, and you've pushed us up another 2%. So we are just over that 650 mark as we climb up to grab that PTZ for the stream. So like I said, slow grind, but we do appreciate every single donation. Helps us get closer. They do not take us away from the target. We don't go in the opposite direction at this point. So that's really nice. We want to thank all those people for helping us out. So for those who point out, Kalani is one of the best commanders to play for Red Player. Agreed. Definitely. So loves
it's
just
not like
doing
you
that
get
reinforcements for, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is that. So hey, speaking of Friday Night Fights and helping us out, Deep Cut Studios helps us each and every week with the gaming mats. So make sure you guys go check them out. You guys can see we have a ton of their mats here. So if you're interested in seeing what they look like, just watch some episodes. I want to thank LegionTerrain.com as well for the donations. We are working on a couple other partnerships as well, but we wouldn't have the great production that we do without Legion Terrain helping us out each and every week. I want to thank Michael as well from tellmetheodds.net. It's a great little tool. If you haven't checked it out, go play with it. It's fun. You might disappoint yourself if you're checking out those odds that you didn't get, but sometimes it's fun just to go there and just figure out, hey, was that average? Was it not average? In the end, you play enough games, it's all going to come out average anyway. So, but cool little tool, and Michael did a lot of work on that, and we want to thank him for that. Don't forget, Michael is still part of us. He's still part of our crew, and so if you missed a wizard, you guys type in "missed a wizard" in the chat, and I'll let him know how many people have actually missed him and want him out here helping us out doing the shows. All right, Jace, let's. Oh, don't worry, Canadian Bear. I watched your game. All right, Jace, you ready for some news? Want to get in some news?
Oh, you bet I'm ready for some news.
All right, yeah, fair enough. Here we go. I mean, 4B1 crits isn't average. It totally is, Jake. Go check I think you got to go check your math there. Here we go. We got to miss the wizard right there. Okay, Jace, are you ready? I don't know if you're ready for this, but I'm kind of ready, and hopefully you guys are. We'll take it easy, and I'm looking for a robust chat, not a what's happening here, Jace? What's happening? Why are we?
Uh-oh.
Well, it does say mistakes were made, so including adding Jace apparently to this screen as well as myself. So we'll just go. we just on the fly. I mean, mistakes are made, and this is a prime example of mistakes. Mistakes do happen. I'm apparently there, but for some reason, you know what, Jace? I think I'm. There we go. You and I are just hiding behind the wrong layer. There we go. Okay, Jace. Let's get into this. Let's get into this a little bit. So
yeah.
Okay. I'm going to say this in the nicest way. We know there's been some mistakes in Legion. We know that there's been some misprints. We know that there's been missing parts. However, I would say from my gaming experience, you've been playing games for a while too. This is not just unique to this game. Misprints happen. You remember back in Flames of War days when we got like the largest sticker known to man, and it was like, take this sticker and just completely paste this over an entire page. Everything is different on this page.
Yeah. The entire page. It was just like a full A4 sheet of paper and just sticker it down.
New sticker. Everything has changed here. What's the point of that? So the point being that it's really easy to get bogged down in pointing and highlighting all of the errors. In fact, there's going to be lots of conversations out there. There is already lots of conversations, and this is not to highlight that those conversations are inappropriate or that they're strong opinions. We all have them. That's 100% a recognized fact. And as I said previously, opinions about things are not unique to gaming. They won't remain unique to gaming. They won't remain unique to Legion. I'm not sure that I've ever played a game that I haven't heard somebody complain about in some capacity. I just don't think it happens. I also think that complaining about the game continuously does have an eroding effect. It can have an eroding effect for new players. It can have a eroding effect for potential players. It can have an eroding effect for players like me who have been in the game for a long, long time. Well, basically, I should say a long, long time since it started. And I also think that it can have an eroding effect on this type of interaction. So Jason and I come in every single week to do a podcast. We don't do it because we hate every aspect of this game, and I'm not suggesting that people hate every aspect of this game if they're complaining about it. But what I would say is that we really kind of want to focus on the positive elements of it, and we can draw some attention to some of the things that, hey, you know what, could it be tightened up? Yes. Would we love less mistakes? Yes. But I don't believe for a second that the company producing the game also wouldn't want those same things. I don't think that that anyone is intentionally putting out an error or putting out a mistake or is okay with a missed pack thing or an error in anything. Do they have to be accountable for it? Absolutely. Could people be more rapid on things? Maybe. I don't know the logistics of how quickly you can rectify an error or change something. Jace is a really great point. Me and Jace did a lot of pregame, pre-show talking. What was that point you were saying, Jace, which I think is relevant in this entire conversation?
Yeah, definitely. It's well, the main thing I was pointing out is just that, like, yes, we talk about how they have all these errors, and we say, they've had enough time with the game and everything, right? They should have it figured out by now. These cards were honestly probably sent off to the printer 6 to 8 months ago. Right? So, like, when we see errors now, we have to, like, remember there's this is the end of a very long chain of where these errors have, they would have been submitted and approved a long time ago before, and honestly, probably before AMG completely understood how this game actually was working.
Yep. And I have a kind of a philosophy, and I share this a lot in education, and I don't mean to be super preachy about, how you need to go about your business. This is not telling people what they need to do. This is just offering just a different perspective in terms of looking at a problem. Um, I'm in a role where the moment that I say something, put something out, put something in writing, send something off, set people to task, that you could be met with criticism. I don't take that away from anyone, but I think that you have to look at what what is your immediate response and why. If you're just looking for fault, you're going to find it. If you're looking for a rationale for the purposes of understanding, that's a little bit different. And if you are going to have an issue with something, then you need to spend less time on the problem and more time on the solution, or at least offer up a solution. And I know that I can't go put components in parts that, are boxes that are missing. That's not what I'm trying to offer up. But I am offering, just to take a slightly different perspective in terms of, recognizing that I don't think that this is intentional. And yes, it has seemed to have been condensed into a short period of time, and there's a compounding effect here as well. But I don't think that we should look the other way and say that we've never had a problem with anything in Legion, or we've never had a problem with anything in any other game. Some games I know of, offer to fix problems faster, or try to address power creep or this or that, and put out new books. And then that's met with, well, I don't want to have to buy a new book, or I'm always buying a new book. So if you want to find a problem with anything, you absolutely can. I guess I'm just not there right now. I'm trying to have as much enjoyment out of the game, and what I offer criticisms and critiques and maybe suggestive changes, sure. But that's not meant to poo-poo the gaming experience for somebody else. I think a lot of people just look to find their own solutions. Missing shield tokens or missing flight stands or things like that. That's an inconvenience for sure, but I can work around that. If you don't have the means to work around that, then the inconvenience is larger for you. In fact, now it maybe is a problem for you. But we're kind of on a spectrum here in terms of how we deal with issues. We have cards that come out with misprints. Well, I have a ton of cards that aren't misprinted, but are actually no more relevant to the game now, than a misprint card. I have cards. Jace has cards. They aren't relevant. They've changed. So, while it's inconvenient to have a card come out that's new, and you'd think, hey, it should come out new and be correct, we've worked around this before. That's my opinion. We've worked around this before. I'm just going to jump in chat here to have a look at a few things here. So, Striker pointing out that people love to point out mistakes more than successes, and it's super annoying and pointless. I don't. I'm not going to fault anyone on any opinion that they share. I do agree that to a certain extent, just speaking about the problem continuously or ad nauseum is pointless. So, Canadian Bear says, my problem with these boxes is my local game store and myself. We're hoping to use the boxes to springboard Legion, and I'm not sure how to handle this with a bunch of new players that want to get in the game. Very relevant point. And like I said, that's kind of that spectrum of solution finding there. Jace and I probably don't care if we don't have all the shield tokens. We have a bunch of core sets, and we have extra shield tokens, and can very well rectify that. But a new player jumping in, and that's the first time they're buying those units, and they needed those shield tokens, or they need to have all the correct tokens to correspond with the units. Absolutely, that's an inconvenience. Absolutely, to say that you need to buy something to correct that error is also an inconvenience for you. Some people, for that reason alone, will say, no, not for me. If this has happened once, it can happen again. I also would like to take the perspective that a problem that exists now doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a problem every time. And I know that's a bit rich to say, in the fact that we've had numerous errors, maybe, or I'll call them errors. I don't exactly know if that's how has transpired, but it's an error nonetheless. It's incorrect in some capacity. But I'm not ready to say that it's going to be reoccurring for the end of time. And because that is, don't bother getting into Legion, or because it is, you should stop buying Legion, or because it is, you should only complain about the game. I don't want to be there. I'm not going to tell others how to feel or be or act. But that's kind of where I'm at. And I don't want to come on weekly. In fact, I want to finish this up and move on, but I don't want to come on weekly and make that a fixatious point of our podcast, that we're really only caring about the errors in this game and really want to poo-poo everything negative, because there's lots of fun things in Legion. And in fact, it's much more fun than it is not fun. So just a soapbox there. So Jason, any further thoughts on any of that stuff? I mean, you and I both like the game, so I think we're of similar opinion, but I won't speak for you either.
Yeah, no, not really. You touched on pretty much everything. I mean, and the big thing is like most players that I know and that I've seen at most events, like they just use like the card showings on the online list builders, right? Like unless you're at an AMG event required to have cards, right? And we'll see how long that even, lasts still being a thing. Like I know most players when they play their local pickup games, at least that I've played or I talk to, on a regular basis or anything, they don't really even use the cards much. Now, I get it's definitely a much bigger thing for new players, and that definitely does suck. But my hope is that there's players in and around the community where these new players are starting out that are like me and Sean and have been playing this game since it came out and have all the cards they need. They have, I don't know, like 40 copies of HQ Uplink that you can pass it over because nothing came in a swoop box. Or they have 20 shield tokens when you only ever run 3 Droidicas and need 12, right? So,
yeah. Bernard raised the point, and then I just wanted to maybe share one more thing, and I think that all of our experiences, life experiences, will kind of flavor, I think, our opinion or approach to how we're handling this right now. But sorry, I didn't read that when I popped it up there. So Bernard says his only concern is the quality control is a major issue. If someone doesn't pay attention, eventually the IP holder may consider pulling the license if you don't want to give the IP a bad look. Valid point for sure. I think I would say that I don't think any one person is probably responsible for every one of these errors, because they all seem to maybe be a little bit different. But you're boiling it down to a quality control aspect for sure. I think the importance of giving the IP a good look is really important, from a sales standpoint for sure. But if anyone's been in any sort of capacity where you must or are held accountable for an error that potentially has nothing to do with you, you have no bearing or impact on both the cause or the solution too, but you have to bear the brunt of that. I'm not sure, Jace, if you've ever been taken to task on an error maybe that is an issue for someone, but you have not been responsible for that.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
all the time.
I mean that is a large part of my job. Luckily, not a daily thing, but being in that sort of situation, it is tough to provide all the solutions to people, and it is tough to change that mindset, and it is tough to provide that lip service. And even if it's not lip service, you sort of have to own that and then figure out the solution. I don't know where the issue is occurring that these errors are happening, but I am confident, and I want to believe that there is people working behind the scenes on these solutions. We won't see the solution work happening. We're only going to see the errors, and we're going to fixate on that because that's what we're seeing. When we start to see something come out that's 100% accurate and correct, we'll probably make a big deal about that too. That's probably initially going to be as a point of still drawing back to, well, there was errors before, so they finally got something right. I don't want to be there either. But I do want to hope that we move to more correct, more accurate product in the future. We're not there right now, but I do want to believe that we're trending in the right direction. And maybe my belief is misheld, but that's where I'm at right now. And I don't have any stake in the game. I don't have shares in AMG or anything like that. I have a shared interest in the game having success, but that's from a selfish standpoint. That's really all it is. But I wouldn't want any game that I'm playing, regardless if it's Star Wars Legion or any other game, to have repetitive errors. But I also don't believe that gaming companies are going to have much longevity if they are just like, well, whatever, it happened, we're okay with that. And I don't think AMG is in that position either. So that's just me. So yeah, anyway, moving along, we'll continue to hope to look for corrections to happen, and we'll hope to look for all these, errors, mistakes, what have you, to be rectified, and we'll kind of continue to bring updates in terms of what's happening, because I think it's important that we also talk about what is happening to have solutions to fix errors, because if you are going to be held accountable for a mistake and you are going to put in the work to correct that, I think that you should also get some positive attention for what you are doing, right? I have to own errors. Everyone has to own errors. Well, you don't have to, I guess. I choose to. And I think that transparency and that sort of, that ownership of mistakes and working to find solutions is what people appreciate. And that gets moving away from just fixating on the problem. So, yeah, that's right. So, yeah, Bernard making a good point there as well. So, all right, on the topic of new things coming out and looking forward to and positively impacting the game, I'm not sure this will be a positive impact on the game. It will be probably if you're using them, and probably a negative impact if you are having to face these IG units. So, because they are particularly nasty, Jace.
Yeah,
All right,
they're
so
just a little good.
yeah, real good. I am looking forward to them. So here they are. I kind of like this split box art. That's kind of a cool feature. It does. They are similar looking, but I will tell you, there's enough hobby people out there that will see a ton of unique IG88s and we'll see a ton of unique IG11s. So even though the poses are similar and there's not necessarily a lot of diversity in there, a few differences. One thing I know for sure about Legion is there is a ton of creative people out there, and so I look forward to how people are gonna. I think we're gonna see a lot of nanny bots out there. I'll just make that prediction right now. So let's get into it, because we do have some cards and things to get through, and then I want to, like I said, leave that time for roundtables. So IG88, Jace, I'm gonna bring this. I think we got somebody was just needing to stand down upstairs. I think it was my Chihuahua going a little crazy there. So, all right. So IG88, he's got, I'll just read off the stats real quick. 110 points. He's got Armor 1, Arsenal 2, Bounty, Impervious, Sharpshooter 1. He's got a comm slot. Is that a training slot and then gear?
Yep.
Is that right?
Yep.
He's got 3 weapon profiles. So he's got the melee IG88's Vibro Cleaver. I love the fact that he's got a cleaver in melee. It's a Rainbow, Pierce 1. Feels great. He's got the modified E11 Blaster, 1-3, 1 black, 2 white, Pierce 1 as well, and versatile. We have a modified DLT 20A rifle, 1-4, 2 black, 1 white. Not bad for a range 4 pool. Red defense dice, 5 health, and a droid with courage. Interesting. Well, I should say they have courage, but you might not think that this guy, needs to have courage, but it is courage 2, and he's surge to crit, and so that's what we have. He's a droid trooper though, so that while he does have courage, we know kind of that sometimes doesn't factor in unless you get it pounded up too much. So and he is the notorious assassin droid, so a very popular droid unit. So, all right, Jace, we've seen this before. We know that he can go in Empire as well. We've kind of talked about this before, but let's get into the things that are unique to the drop, and then I also have the card on here for reference. So, maybe I'll read, and then you can give first blush of all the cards tonight. So, we'll go on the one. Keep in mind that there is a shared 2-pip. So it's not on this screen, it'll be on the next one. But if you're looking at this and say there's only 2 cards, he has a 1 and 2 2-pip as cards that IG can take here. So a bit unique in that respect. So first one, focused on the kill. It goes to IG88 only. It has a permanent keyword with a period, so that is permanent, the effect. While IG88 is performing an attack against a unit that is the target of a bounty keyword, keep in mind he does have bounty, that unit cannot spend tokens, and that is an effect for perpetuity. If IG88 has wounds equal to or exceeding his wound threshold, he is not defeated until the start of the end phase. Okay.
That's awesome.
Yes. Now, let's get into some wording here. There's already been conversation around the wording here.
Yeah.
I fully understand that this could probably read different. Maybe it needs some clarity, but I also feel like the intent of this is fairly clear. And I get that we can argue about all the syntax of this card. But to me, it looks like he can take wounds up to his 5, and
Yep.
based on the wording of the card, it would imply to me that you could exceed those wounds. Now,
Yes.
I get it that we don't do that currently. We have no stacking mechanism. If a unit reaches its threshold, we take it off the table, with the exception of E-stims, which would have an ability to shift some wounds over. But there's already some discussion about this. There is Canadian Bear saying I can chalk up the wording to the new Legion game design. Perhaps, yes, perhaps. Do we need a clarification of this? Maybe. Will there be some people who will kind of argue around the wording of this? Quite possibly, for sure. But as you read that card, Jace, do you intuitively feel like you know what the intent here is?
Yep. To me, it seems like the intent is that he does not die until the end of that turn. Like,
yep.
No matter how many more wounds you put on him, he will stay alive till that turn is over.
Yes. Now, fair point. We have heal in this game, and I think that's where the sort of the convoluted ordering can come in, because if he goes to 5 and let's say takes 8 wounds total in the turn, and you manage to,
repair
for whatever reason you
3.
could repair him 4 times.
Yeah, 4.
He satisfied the exceeding at one point in the turn. But if you were to heal him 4 times and he had 8, he would go back down below the threshold. To me, the last line reads, if IG-88 has wounds equal to or exceeding his wound threshold, he is not defeated until the start of the end phase. We need some clarity in terms of when do you apply that? So at any point that he reached this threshold, does that just automatically trigger that he would be dead, regardless of how many heals? Is this only going to be read at is the timing for this that you check this status of the IG unit at the end of the turn, at the end phase? That to me is more of a timing thing, and I'm less confused about the wording of the card or the intent there. So,
definitely timing.
I get it. But at a certain point, though, maybe we don't want to have 4 paragraphs worth of text on here. And so maybe we need to have more implied, and then we have additional clarifications, or maybe it needs to be a specific IG-88 entry in the rules reference, and of course that would imply that we have an updated rules reference. But for me, I guess I guess I'm not going to get hung too much up on this. I'll wait for clarity. The internet will demand it. We'll get it. Hopefully, and then we'll play as described. I think the rules form's been a pretty good reference for when situations come up, because I would imagine that writing all of these cards and the text to then intuitively know every possible interaction and nuance and that possibly could occur in the game, and especially where we have different timing windows and different thresholds, that is probably a difficult task.
Oh yeah. 100%.
I'm going to say I probably couldn't do any better. In fact, I'd probably be way worse.
Agreed.
But
same here.
So that's where it's at. It looks basically like it's a form of like, you can't die, you will get this off, and if you exceed your threshold, then you're probably going to be dead. Yeah, and as Stryker pointed out, timing and heals will be odd. There's just. Go ahead.
I think it really just depends if it follows the precedent set by E-stims. Because E-stims, you can take the wounds and then heal it back and then take the wounds and you're still alive and all that, right? Like, there's play around with that. So it all depends if it has the same play around.
Let's not try to pretend for a second that there's not already some weird workings around things like, I don't know, poison and fire support. Like, there's already lots of ways to cheat death in this game. And I like, for one, think that needs to be clarified. But timing windows satisfy that, but they don't necessarily satisfy gameplay. I think the intent of the gameplay here is pretty intuitive. Do we need some work around the timing or just some clarity around that? Sure, but I would say we need clarity around it. I don't necessarily think that it's like all wrong and it needs to be like rewritten entirely. Maybe some extra words, maybe a bit more. But you know what? I can appreciate having less text on some cards too, on occasion. So, yeah. I'm just reading some comments here. So, and you guys save all this robust conversation. We'll get to the roundtable for sure. So we'll kind of preface. So maybe we won't get too in the weeds on many of these here, Jace. So independent program.
Yeah.
Let me preface this one here to you. Again, IG88 seems to be a little bit starved here for orders, but he likes that. Dengar also confirmed, and whatever hut that is in the back there also confirmed. So, but the fact that we were going to get Dengar seems pretty good. In fact, we're going to get a hut seems pretty good. So, yeah, it's going to be speed, plotting for sure. That'll be
100%.
that keyword's coming back for the hut there. So this one's permanent, another permanent. Each time, I love these power up cards. That is one trend that I've liked with units. So each time IG88 issues an order to himself, he gains an aim token. And flip side of that is if IG88 also gains independent, meaning once this is played, every time he's not issued an order, he's going to get a dodge token. So, yeah.
Which is awesome.
Just, looks great. Maybe that is zero the hut. I'm not sure if it is or not, but could be.
I think
so IG88 just kind of powering himself up. So, you got the bounty keyword, that's already on there. And then this one here is going to just help you against those bounty targets, not last from the get-go. You got independent programming. That's going to help you out, get either an aim or a dodge. And that's going to be kind of, permanent from the get-go. So I feel like I like both of those. A little out of sequence here, Jace, but I'm going to skip past the IG11 profile just so that we can talk about the other 2-pip that can be assigned to IG88 here. So, as mentioned, he has the 2-pips. So, and then we'll jump back and we'll talk about both of those together. So, this one here is IG11 or IG88. Obviously, you can only take one copy of this. But you must nominate IG11 or IG88 off this card. Mm-hmm. The nominated IG11 or 88 gains 1 aim token, demoralize 3, and steady. So not a permanent effect. This one will just be unique to that turn. But demoralize 3, steady, and another aim token feels pretty good because, let me jump back here. If you've already played this permanent here, and you issue him an order,
is that the
I
one
believe he's going to get... What's that, sorry?
You're talking about the 2.
The 2-pip, yep. So if you've already issued this 2-pip, then when he gets an order, he should end up getting 2 aims off that turn.
Oh, 100%.
Right?
Yep.
So...
You'll give him 2 aims. He's already got Arsenal, so he's shooting 3 black, 3 white with Surge to Crit and Pierce 1.
Mm-hmm.
And you can double move into that.
Yep.
Or you can double move into combat. I guess he gets steady, not relentless, but
he gets steady.
You can double move and shoot that, which is great.
Yeah, with a Surge Crit, Sharpshooter 1, and let's just say that was played on turn 3, and you've already played focused on the kill. Well, one of those shots may be into a bounty target, and if that bounty target happens to be within that range band, now suddenly you're like, well, sorry, you can't actually spend any tokens either. So now you're putting in a really nice dice pool, modified potentially by aims. You're saying you can't spend any tokens. You got your surge conversion already, and you're kind of sitting there and effectively that's going to happen. I mean, obviously the 1-pip is the time that you have that I can't be killed turn, so it's not going to happen in that particular turn, but. There's a particular order here, but I don't think that there's an obvious order in which these cards must be played. I think there's a little bit of a situational here, and you're not really, you're not kind of found wanting with a 1 and 2 pips. So he's got pretty good pip control in terms of that. So, and that focused on the kill is nice because when you play that 1-pip, you can lose a roll off against a 1-pip and still in theory, that's gonna happen. So unless there's any nuances about this card we're not seeing, that's obvious, but. Yeah, he's pretty good. I like him. I like the versatility, not to be confused with the versatile keyword of the IG. Mm-hmm. So, he's in there.
Jake's got a perfect anti-force user bounty hunter, and I love it.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Why not bring more bounty in the game? I think one of the things we've saw with bounties is hard to claim. I think though there's going to be an inherited ease factor when potentially there's going to be bounty all over the place. Right? You could have double bounty Empire. You could have double bounty Rebels. You could have double bounty CIS. Like there's
Yeah.
yeah, when bounty starts to be maybe stacked in a game, then it's a little less, like my bounty hunter is going to go in on this. Well, maybe my bounty hunter is going to bounty your bounty hunter, and while you're trying to hunt me, I'm hunting you, and there's going to be all kinds of great, again, games within games. So I do like all of that. So yeah, very very cool. Well, why don't we slide over to because we want to make sure we have lots of time to have this conversation. Let's have a look at IG-11 here real quick. So IG-11's 105. What was IG-88? Is he 110? Yeah, he's 110.
110.
So a
yeah.
little bit cheaper. You can go into
Same price with if you take the proper programming.
True.
But we'll get there.
Empire and Rebels.
Yeah, Empire Rebels.
He's got the training, he's got the comms, he's got the gear, and then he's got the programmed icon there. So he's Armor 1 gunslinger, so not Arsenal, but gunslinger. Which Gunslinger's pretty good. And then he's got Impervious, the programmed icon, obviously, so you have to take a programming. Sharpshooter 1 as well. He is red, defense 5, health 2, courage, same thing. He's surge to hit, not surge to crit like IG. But his melee's awesome.
Melee's strong.
It's very good. It's very good at 4 red.
It's Chewie's melee. It's actually the exact same name as Chewie's melee too.
Yep. Overpowered. I like it. Well, anybody who's protective of a child will obviously find feats of strength there. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, but can you get is training? Is that where you get to tenacity falls in that slot?
Yes.
Oh yeah, so probably could just take that if you wanted, I guess. The modified E11 blaster is one of the range weapons, 1 to 3, 1 black, 2 white with pierce, and then the modified DLT 20, same as IG88, 1 to 4 with 2 black and 1 white. Speed 2, by the way, if we didn't cover that off. Also droid trooper. Yeah. So. Nurse and protect. I love these little phraseologies that are added in here. So let's slide over and have a look what we do know about IG. And here's the spread. So a 1, a 2, and a 3. So a little bit more traditional of a command hand here. Pretty fun. No particular order, but let's start with the 2 that we haven't, and we'll start with the 1 pip just because it's on the left. Mm-hmm. Mechanical Carnage. All right. So random dude at the top of the building about to get shot confirmed. So there's that. There's several of them, so we could possibly see all of those in the game at some point, just because you know how the card art goes. So IG-11 loses Gunslinger, so that great keyword that you don't get on this card, but there's a consolation prize. The first time IG-11 declares an attack action during his activation, instead of attacking normally, he performs 1 attack against each enemy unit at range 2. All right, Jace, have a little fit about the wording here, because I know that you were speaking about this earlier today. So explain how this is all working and why potentially you would have liked this to maybe be different, and if in fact it needs to be different.
Oh, they 100% could have made it clear, because at range 2, I can easily see the argument for like they can't be at range 1. I definitely do not think that is what they intended. But yeah, like it's really just because of the word at range 2. They should have said anything more.
Do you think if they wanted it to be range 2, it should have been like range 2, like with a dash to whatever range band it could go out to, or range 2 and beyond? Like, is that what you would have preferred that to be, if in fact they wanted it to be range 2 and beyond? Or do you think they actually intended it to be at range 1 to 2? Is that what
I think they meant for it? I think they meant for it to be range 1 to 2.
Okay.
Like, not just like you have. I don't think they meant for it to be like the unit you're targeting cannot have a mini inside range 1 because you're at range 1. I do not think that is what they meant.
So would you say on this card that you could not have a mini at range 3 either?
Yes. Oh no, because at is you take the lower of the 2 ranges.
Yeah, no. I was just getting a full context of what, like, because I'm just I was using devil's advocate position there, that where a new player might just be like, oh, it has to be at range 2. It can't be at 3. It can't be at 1. And so again, not putting a qualifier of like a dash on there might have been easier for new players, kind of thing. So because I think we get into this conversation about at within. I mean, I just played a breakthrough game the other day and had to provide clarity around the fully within to score. And then hostage is another one of those strange one where it's the token has to be within and not necessarily the leader. And so we do have to pay close attention to the at within qualifiers in lots of elements of this game. So, yeah.
But because the way it is written, it's range 2. If you got a mini in range 1, you're screwed.
Gotcha.
And it doesn't matter for going over because the at rules specifically state you take the lower of the 2.
Yeah, and so any mini here, I guess, would then qualify.
Because you measure to the closest mini. So if the closest mini in the enemy unit's in range 1.
Yep.
And they shouldn't write it like Inspire. Like if you look at Leia or Veer's card, Inspire says at range 1-2.
Right. Yep. I do see that coming up a lot as well, where sometimes players aren't aware that other minis in the unit matter because you do so much with the unit leaders. So that does come up on occasion. So again, I think more this maybe becomes more of a being really clear to all players, but I think that the real confusion factor might come in for new players as they try to work through all the nuances of this. So I think once it's clarified for if you kind of get the rules, then it's a bit easier. But I agree, this one, and again, I don't know the intent. Maybe that was strictly the intent. They wanted to just make this so unique and like, I don't know.
If so, that's a very tough card to use, and I would not give up Gunslinger for that. Because the thing is with Gunslinger, because of his 2 cards, you can shoot 2 units at range 4. You could use the range 4 gun and then the range 3 gun. You could use just the range 3 gun. You lose out on so much flexibility if you're doing that. Like the amount of units you can fit at exactly range 2 isn't, and in like line of sight, isn't that big.
Right. Yeah.
And the interesting thing too is you have to choose which gun to use for this attack because it doesn't give you a specific die pool.
You do. Luckily, both guns qualify at this particular range band, so that's good. So, yeah, and I'm not sure if this matters so much, but it's the first time IG 11 declares an attack action, so they're qualifying there that it's off the first one if that mattered. So, but I think it's just.
I think it's so you can't like pull the strings and make them do it twice.
Potentially, yes. That's a very good qualifier there. So, but again, paying attention to all those words that are in there, like the words do all generally mean something, and I think sometimes that's why when it's really really wordy, it kind of almost leaves like really small windows of interpretation, and provides a little less clarity than maybe more clear. So. Yep. Okay, let's have a look at the anti-capture protocols, and then we'll get into the programming, the 2 programming options. So this is a 3-pip, obviously, IG-11. So again, all these cards are just to the IG units, and I think that makes sense. And they're probably not team players. Just speculating there.
It's like most bounty hunters, except for Boba's new ones.
Yeah, exactly. And I think with the droids, they would be even more selfish, right? So droids don't have feelings, except for IG-11. When building a command hand, if your army includes IG-11, this card must be included. Seems pretty intuitive, but it's just not giving you the option to not take this or to take 2-3 pips in its place. So that's the first part of that card. It can only go to IG-11 as stated. And at the end of IG-11's activation, if he has 3 or more wounds, he performs an attack with the following weapon. So disregard the weapons that are on your profile. This is not a melee symbol. This is the self-destruct. Yep. So you kind of have to go consult that self-destruct, but Jace can kind of tell you what that means. It's 3 red, 2 black, blast, impact 3, and suppressive. So, do I not wish that there was a world where you just end up in the middle of like triple spiders or like boom. All the staps or all the vehicles and just like. I guess staps won't matter, I guess, but the spiders for sure. Maybe the double buses, like the impact 3, great. If you're in the rear arc of something and it's got a weak point, wow, this is even better. So, but this is just going to be deadly against everything. So, all right, what does the self-destruct cause us to do, Jace? That's probably important to point out to people.
Yeah. So the self-destruct. It lets you do a range. You attack everything up to range 1, I believe it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you attack everything up to range 1, and then at the end of the attack, you remove yourself as a casualty.
Yep. So you don't have to be dead to, like, you can be at 3, 4. That's basically your window here. So
yeah, because you can't be dead and
you
because
obviously
that's
can't,
the end
you
of
can't be dead.
activation.
Yeah, for sure. You can't be dead. But you have a window where you can kind of play this, because if you played this card, let's say you were just forced to play or whatever, you have to have, I believe, as I'm reading it, you have to have the 3 or more wounds in order to perform the attack. So if you, whatever reason, you had to play this, and you weren't at that threshold, you do not get the second part of this card.
Yeah, and we'll come back to this card too when we talk to bounty programming, as everyone
Yes.
else is already talking about.
Yeah, you bet.
But the other thing too is this doesn't say may. It's just if you have 3 or more wounds, you're performing this attack.
Yep.
If you play this card, like you are locked in. You can't just play the card to play the card and not blow yourself up.
Right. Now, I'm just wondering, if you play the card and you don't satisfy this here, Jace, what happens to that? Like, I have 2 wounds. I need to play this card for whatever reason. I want it pip priority, whatever. What happens then?
He lives.
He just lives. You don't trigger the self-destruct. Right.
Nope, don't trigger the attack. You don't remove yourself as a casualty.
Yep.
Because you've got to have 3 or more wounds.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's have a look at those. The programming. We got nanny programming, bounty programming. They're appropriately named, I think.
Yep.
Because IG-11, just having a look at the profile, does not natively come with bounty. So just to be really clear, IG-88 does. So the nanny programming goes in the programming slot. 1 is 0, 1 is 5 points. IG-11 is Rebel only, so the nanny programming is only going to be for IG-11 and only the Rebel version.
Yeah, they're both only IG-11.
Correct. Yeah, I was just
IG-80
pointing out there's just what the 2 qualifiers, because the Rebel only does not
Yes.
apply to the bounty programming one. So while building an army, Grogu gains counterpart IG-11. So if you want to kind of team them up, you can. And an IG-11 gains AI dodge or move. So
I mean, it's free.
yeah, and it's 0 cost to you, and you must take that. So there's that. Striker pointing out that IG-11 gives you, the nanny program gives you a second unit to use Grogu if you want to use Grogu at all.
Yeah,
very
if
much.
You think Grogu is worth using?
Yep, there you go. You do have a second option. Not going to disagree with that statement, but then we get into the whole thing: do you want to use Grogu or not? The bounty program.
It all comes down.
Go ahead.
It all comes down. Do you want Grogu's 2-pip command card? Because that's the only reason I see to take him or not.
Yep, for sure. And then the bounty programming, all those bounties confirmed on the screen there. So that's a lot of characters. So I do hope we actually at some point get like a little bit of maybe a terrain or a scenario pack that just comes with 5 or 6 just extra characters, great hostage units, civilians to sort of, if you want to call them civilians, to scatter amongst your table. That'd be kind of cool to have some alt sculpts would be great. IG-11 only, you gain bounty and AI aim or attack. And if you choose a commander as the bounty, your weapons gain Pierce 1. So if you choose a commander as the bounty target, then your weapons gain Pierce 1. Does not only apply, as I read it, when you shoot the target. It just says if one of those has the bounty token, now your weapons gain Pierce, which is great.
Yep. Your melee weapon, your Pierce 1 weapon goes to Pierce 2. Your range 4 one gets Pierce. And the other thing, too, is their article said specifically that his 2-pip or his 3-pip command card gets the Pierce as well, which is insane. You get Pierce on self-destruct.
That's, Pierce 2 seems good. As Jace pointed out, he's kind of like Han at that point. And then if you choose an operative as your target for the bounty, then your weapons gain suppressive. And so whatever option you want to go, you can certainly do that. Stack and Pierce maybe feels better, but you know what? Maybe there's a world where they have field commander. And, it's like they don't have a traditional commander. So my next best is going to be, let me get that operative that they have. And now I have suppressive. So, yeah.
I
Otherwise,
do love how they made a deterrent to not bounty R2.
yeah, fair. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Unless you want to kind of suppress them off the table if you can build up enough. So there's that. So yeah. So I guess one costs you 5 and one costs you 0. I think the 0 one is probably okay at a 0 cost, and obviously adding the bounty keyword is pretty powerful, considering that if it could potentially and probably will in most games give you at least a Pierce 1 or a suppressive keyword added on there. So I think 5 points is an appropriate cost for that, given what we have for our other programming slots. But yeah, there's that. I like them all. But Jace, we've talked a lot about these in terms of our likes and dislikes. In terms of that, I think we might as well crack the I know we said we're going to do 90 minutes. Maybe we'll squeeze it to 100 because we are at 115. Why don't we give people 20 minutes to get in our roundtable and try to get some people through? Does that sound fair?
You bet.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. So roundtable, we're going to go because we are going to do a giveaway for people, and because we want to get lots of opinions. We're going to ask if people want to play the game to kind of come in, give their thing, and then you can say goodbye to us and let people cycle through. But the topics tonight are as follows, and I think these are all fitting. How to fix Legion. So come in and give us, and I'm not suggesting that it's broken. That's not what that implies. But if you have a fix for Legion, it could be anything. Timing, erratas, a website, rules documents, tournament guides, anything you want, you can tell us how to fix Legion. Maybe it's just get rid of PK droids. I'm not sure. Whatever you want to tell us is how to fix Legion, you can do that. And
remove Sean's Crux.
We're all full of solutions, I'm sure, in the Legion world. We could just say we're all fine here. You could just come in and sort of be that calm voice of reason and just tell everybody that we're good. Is your hyperdrive just maybe it's just the people who are just like too into Legion, like so hyper competitive, or we just need everything to be so fine-tuned to maximum efficiency while not allowing any power creep of any kind. Maybe that's where you're at, and I'm not suggesting people are there. I'm just saying that's the implication of that phrase. And then the IG units stand down. Maybe people are just like way over the top, catastrophizing everything to the point that it's actually just exasperating problems that aren't necessarily as big a problem as one would be led to believe. So you've got the topics. You got to pick the title when you come in. Give us your opinions. We'll give you the time. We'll say see you later, and we'll get as many people through as we can in the next 20 minutes alone. And Frizzle's got it right. You leave those adorable PKs alone. I am in the camp of they're fine, leave them alone. So, all right, we're going to cycle through.
Disagree.
We will enter people who do come in and share us some thoughts in here. So, like I said, you're entered when you come in. Let's be cognizant of the time and give as many people that want a platform as possible. You will not be entered twice if you come in multiple times. So there's no incentive to have to do that twice. I see Emily's coming into the background. Jace, does she have a strong opinion about Legion? I see not, because she's leaving and heading in the other direction.
Nope.
So
nope, she does
awesome.
Not. No.
All right, I'm putting me more nachos. I'm putting it in the chat. And we have opened the virtual phone lines, and I got the card sleeves right here. So let me get out a stack. I have we got our first caller. Woo! Let me see who it is. All right. Okay, Justice is coming in. He's coming in just to tell me how badly he's going to crush me in the next time we meet. So let's.
I mean, that is a viable option as well.
Yeah, let's get him in here. All right, Justice, can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you. All right, and I got Andrew in as well. So these two are in, so just hold if you're calling in. Go ahead, Justice. Tell us what topic you're picking and rip through it.
How to fix Legion.
All right.
So this one's real easy. They already laid out the groundwork for it, and they say they've been working on it. The website. They just need to put out the website. They need to have somebody that mans it, answers people's questions when people are confused, and is the end-all be-all. And that would fix everything. No one could dispute, hey, what does this card do? Or, hey, what does this do? Because this is worded this way. It would be one guy in charge of it, and in charge of talking to the community, which I think that's where a lot of the disconnect that people have is AMG isn't very transparent. They don't talk to us a lot, and they don't fix the issues quickly, and I think that's where a lot of people get angry about basically. So I think the website would fix the game. Someone just handling that and responding to the players.
All right, so we need somebody with ultimate power but ultimate oversight on all things.
Yeah.
All right. So we were looking for a Palpatine
Perfect.
to run the Legion sphere. So I like it. There's no wrong answers here, by the way. So thanks for that, Justice. By the way, before we let you go, any predictions for our game? You can tell. You got the chance right now to tell all the people how you're going to crush me badly.
There's gonna be a lot of droids healing droids. That's the biggest prediction I have. I just need to kill things.
All right, I'm gonna hold you to that. I'm gonna try to press that act advantage as best as possible because I need to stay away from your little green guy. So I'm predicting that Yoda's gonna melee a PK droid because he wants to pick on some of his own size. So that is happening. That is happening in our game. So. All right, Justice, we got you in for the card sleeves. We'll let you know if stick around for the rest of it, and I'll see you out if that's okay because I got Jake lined up here in the booth. All right, cheers. Thank you. Cheers. All right, Andrew, you're up next, and then I'm getting Jake in here.
Yeah. I'm kind of in between. I'm kind of like in that thumbs middle ground. Somewhere between How to Fix Legion and We're All Fine Here. Hey, it's two of me.
Yeah, sorry. Continue.
Yeah, no, I love the frequencies which we're getting new releases. So that makes me think we're all fine here as the game looks to be, at least as far as releases, in a healthy state. But I think Canadian Bear alluded to it earlier, and I kind of agree too. With the again, I know you want to stay away from this, but the quality with the frequency at which little errors appear, whether it is missing flight stands, missing shield tokens, missing order tokens. Because I know, like, every time I see somebody post on Facebook, like, "Hey, I'm new to the game. Where do I go?" Especially if they say I'm going by myself, I point them directly, get a Battle Force, any one of the 5, shoot your style, and get a Sentinels kit. But now that if there's all these errors, I don't want their first experience to be a sour one.
Right. On that note, I also think that there's an opportunity where if you just want to draw a glaring notification to all of the errors, we miss all of the good aspects as well. That's like if you go up and you want a flavor of ice cream and there's 24 flavors and you went there and got food poisoning one time, your message is likely, don't eat there, you're going to get food poisoning. But you might have gone there 100 times before and had no issue, but your last impression is probably your biggest message, right? I'm not sure if you agree or disagree with that, but I think we can choose to convey a message that is really one-sided or one-dimensional, or we can choose to kind of give the whole picture.
And I can still not eat Krispy Kreme donuts till this day.
And I stay away from Chili's because Anthony had a bad experience. Or Denny's, sorry. So there's that. So
No. Yeah, I still love Legion. I will still continue to play the game, still continue to hype the game to anybody that I can to. Yes, but I just want that when they join it, I want them to enjoy it and not their first impression. Hope their first impression is a positive one and not soured by anything that any little or big mistakes that they may encounter because they don't have the extra thing, the right things to play with.
No, totally agree. I think that we need to recognize that there's been errors. I think we need to correct errors that are there. I think we need to find solutions to not have errors occur at the same frequency. But at the same time, I think that we still need to focus on the positive aspects of the game and still recognize kind of how we all maybe came to be in the game and, you know, what parts of the game we actually enjoy and give us entertainment. So,
of course, absolutely agree.
All right, Andrew, you're in. I'm going to kick you out because I got Canadian Bear in. I'm not going to kick you out. I'm going to because you're going to leave here. That podcast is the worst. They kick everyone out, and that'll be the ringing endorsement that we have on the internet. But you know what I mean.
I only kick out Ryan.
Oh, Mr. Graham, darn it. We're both Jersey people, so I actually wanted to say hi to Graham.
Okay,
in
well,
person.
I will leave you in the room and I'll just bring him on screen. But Jake's up next anyway, so I'll do that.
Okay.
You'll be able to hear him and you can talk to him.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Okay.
So Jace, what are you eating?
I was eating nachos, but they're all gone now.
Okay. I just kept seeing you chewing in.
It's super glue chips.
Yeah.
So IG, I will figure out a way to make Grogu work.
Okay.
Hopefully with Jin. Since either that or Cassian with whatchamacallit, Danger Sense to try and pull off the super deflect
Okay.
with all those white dice. So I just want that to happen.
That is fair.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the best. Either that or with Chewie is kind of the best way to get that off.
Okay.
But we'll see.
So you're in the category of we're all fine here then? It's all
Oh
good?
yeah, we're all fine. Everything's fine.
Okay.
Nothing's burning except
Oh, yeah.
golf.
Okay. We just had concessions on that. It's fine. Gar is also fine. They can fizzle out. It's fine.
Gar can fizzle out.
As
It's
somebody
all-
who has played Gar for a while, it hurts to see them not get as much love.
What do you mean? They gave you a buff. They gave you 2 red dice on your strike teams.
For a short period of time or maybe in perpetuity. So we're not 100% clear there, but
That's the same way with Han having red dice, right? Red defense dice, right?
Yeah.
that
Oh,
was
yeah.
that was a good Han. That was a good Han. Yep. he was quite good at that point. Well, Jake,
That was
since I
fun
gave
when he was running away from the 100 stormtroopers in New Hope.
I gave Justice the opportunity, so I'd be remiss if I didn't give you and then Graham as well. So do you want to tell everyone how our game's going to go?
Well, since I already know what map it's gonna be on, I want.
So you're not giving me red. You're not giving me blue players. What you're saying?
Yeah. You're not getting blue.
Okay. Okay.
You're
fine.
playing right into his
the map-
hands.
The map gives me some advantages.
Okay, so we're playing on Naboo then, or the Theed map. We're not playing on
it's
Theed map.
It'll be on Theed.
Okay. Yeah. So. Okay. Given. Yep.
Yeah.
I've already triangulated and scouted out every possible position for your fluttercraft to approach me, and I'm using 12 square inches of one corner of the table for my entire army to sit. So I'm just laying this all out for you.
Okay. Cool. Well, I am hoping to panic some stuff off the board.
Got it.
We'll see.
I figured the best way to counteract your displacement was to give you physically no place to place 3 fluttercrafts.
That's almost given.
Yes. I look forward to shooting fluttercrafts. Fluttercrafts can be ionized, is that correct?
Yeah, they can.
Yes.
Okay.
They are vehicles.
All right. Okay,
Yeah,
I
they're
got
vehicles can be ironed.
Seth is trying to call. Seth, you can't get in the call right now until I boot some people, but I'm going to do that right now, so just stay tuned. So thank you very much for that, Jake. Andrew, you want to say hi to Canadian Bear real quick, and then I'll kick you guys both out. I got you both entered. Jake's in, Andrew's in, Canadian Bear, and Justice, and then we'll get Seth in. All right, go ahead, Andrew. Say hello to Canadian Bear.
Canadian Bear. Graham.
Hey, Andrew.
From one Jersey boy to another.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm glad we can.
Graham, I'm coming for you too, Graham.
Okay.
Jersey, you guys is new.
No. No. No more flutters.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we're at the opposite end of in the state, like an hour and a half, 2 hours apart. So our paths don't cross that often. But good to know there's another Jersey boy in this group.
You bet.
And I mean, also those New Jersey Jets and New Jersey Giants this past week, right? There you guys go.
Holy cow, that was a good comeback.
All right. Well,
Very, very funny, Jace. Very funny.
you guys take the football discussion onto the Discord, so I can cycle our viewers through. Thanks a lot, Jake, for coming in. Thanks a lot, Andrew.
Yep, I'm popping out.
All right.
All right.
Take care, guys.
All right. I got an answer for Seth. There we go. Got Seth in. Go ahead, Canadian Bear, you're up, and then I'll get Seth on screen here.
All right. I think I'll go with IG unit stand down.
Okay, IG units stand out. Got it.
I think, honestly, I kind of like the idea of assuming that they are running an operative, teaming up 11 with Bosk and doing triple mortar and
Yeah.
death troopers.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a lot of suppressive.
A lot of suppressive range 4. It's yeah. I mean, it might not be super deadly, but even if there's no operative, it's still range 2, range 4 fierce, and one of them is suppressive, and then it's still 4 more suppressive units at range 4. So, and a lot of critical surge to crit on most of them.
Yeah, not 11
Right.
though. Unfortunately, he's the weak IG.
I like how you guys see new units and just immediately come up with the best way to like not make friends with anything new. It's where everybody's at. Nobody ever thinks about
Sean.
nobody ever thinks about the newbie at the store. You're like, oh, you're just getting a Legion. Well, you should see this new unit because this is how I'm going to demoralize everyone on the table, and then you just drop out your suppressive lists.
Sean, if we were trying to not make friends, we'd also include 2 units of pikes in that list.
Yeah, I think if you just don't want to make friends in general, you just play pikes right now. So, yeah, they're pretty bad. I do want to say, Graham, too. I do appreciate you adopting the real Canadian look. Looks like you're prepping up for winter here. You're going into like full hibernization here, or what's going on?
It's been a while since I've been able to grow or allowed to grow a beard.
Okay.
So now that I've moved out of like essentially response of my volunteer fire company.
Yep.
So I'm not, with gas prices as they are, I'm not going to drive an hour to go sit and wait for something to possibly come in and then drive an hour back home.
I like that you've embraced your Canadian heritage. That's good. That's good. You're looking like a true Canadian now. So
get the lumberjack going.
Yep. And he's rivaling some bears for the amount of fur. So I would love to see as this evolution takes fold here. All right. Well, before we get Seth in here, you want to also predict how our game's going to go? I'm taking notes here. I'm entering you in the contest, but also writing down how you're beating me. So,
is there a way to change poison to like acid or ion or something?
No, I brought the ion, so you're fine. I'll have the ion covered, and you've got the dioxis covered. So, yeah. One of your ion, I'm going to tell you right now, one of your snails is out of gas because it's not going to move in our game. That's what I'm predicting right now. So, so wherever you deploy it, that is where it's going to remain. So just keep that in mind. So, all right, Graham, I look forward to it. I look forward to it. So, yeah, and go beat Jake so that I can get some tech on that as well. So,
I will
all right,
try.
Awesome. All right, thanks for calling in, man.
Yep. Have a good night.
Cheers. All right, Seth, you're up.
Hooray. I think we're all fine.
Okay.
For Legion.
Are we?
I started playing about a year ago. So basically every card that I had was wrong points or didn't have the right weapon stats on it and that sort of thing. So card-wise, I don't see that as a huge problem. Tokens and things like that, that's a bit more of an issue, but I also feel like if you have a good enough amount of people at your store already playing, the people that have extras can step up and help new players with that.
Right.
And that's a great way to build a community together and help the game grow as a whole instead of just constantly pointing it out over and over again that this was a problem. Some of them it's a little bit harder to fix, like the flight stands or bases, because I still hope eventually that they send out or put out a just standard base like pack, not the upgraded one.
Right.
So people have the option to just pick those up. But other than that, I bought 2 things of the Shadow Collective box and I gave away all of my tokens from the second one to a brand new player because I was like, I don't need all of this stuff.
Right.
So I was like, here, just have it. I don't need it.
I have bags and oodles and oodles of all the cardboard, and I like the cardboard tokens. Like we made acrylic tokens, but I still use cardboard. I just like them because they're like the same as somebody else's. If I get them mixed up, I don't really care. When I leave a table, if you think you need those tokens or you think they're yours, I'm fine to give them up. And here's one of the questions that I just had, and I know that we'll have like, well, what if you only have the right amount of tokens and then you and they don't come with that, or like you're short tokens. What would you do if you lost a game element? Like you know what I mean? I have a shield token and I lose the token. That's on me, but the problem is the same. So what solution would you do to solve that?
I mean, the shield token thing can be solved with dice, because then you can also put a colored die for each unit, and then they have red unit of rollies, blue unit of rollies, and that's their shield die, and it's that color. It's not hard to fix, it's just annoying.
Yeah, and I guess what I'm getting at is that we will find solutions to make things work in most cases if we want to. If we want to just point out that it's, well, I'm short a shield token, then I can't play. How am I going to play my Droidicas? There's no possible way. I guess I can't play CIS. I might as well sell my entire army. First off, who's playing Droidicas right now? Secondly, it's not that big of a deal. And I just think if you want to find the solutions, you can find the solutions. That's where I guess I settle out, where we don't have to sky is falling, catastrophize everything.
Everything's wrong. It's all bad.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm just not there right now. And I guess, you know what, I would say that probably early on in my gaming, maybe I would fall into that category a little bit more, and it was just so easy to do that sort of stuff. But I guess as I get older and I'm in positions where you got to be a little bit more, creative. We've all been creative. We've all found ways to survive and do our whole entire lives differently. So I figured if I could do that, I could probably find, workable solutions to small things, or, maybe I have to remember something more on a card or cross-reference it somewhere else. But yeah, there's lots of opportunities there. So
yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you think that we're all fine here. So that's good.
And I'll be streaming all of your wins later.
Oh, okay. I appreciate that. Justice is giving me a hard time in here. He thinks I'm teching too hard, and I'm just trying to make a living here as I make my way through this group. So I appreciate though. Yes, and if you guys didn't know, Seth's done an absolute ton of streaming, and so you guys should sound off in chat if you've enjoyed any of those games. And I know a lot of you have. So speaking of people in my pod, here comes JD, another person looking for inside tech, who's in here to wreck people with his range 4 gun line, a la 9 units pack and range 4. So appreciate that.
Well, I had to come on and report the inaccuracies. So you said you won the count bid at 11, so I matched that, but then took a 9-point bid so that we could use my deck too. So I just thought to start off, we'd point that out.
Okay, fair enough. But is the real winner the blue player, or is it the red player? That's where we're gonna get in a disagreement right now. So yeah,
Sean, I can tell you from last Friday, red player did not do well.
Yeah, for sure. All right, JD, tell us which topic are we? Are we Legion needs to be fixed? We're all fine. It's your hyperdrive or IG unit stand down.
I think the IGs are good. I kind of want to mess around. I think with IGs, like an IG Din cat or Lando list, and have all those extra slots for the command cards. That's kind of what I was just thinking as I was driving around. I haven't really tried to put a teeth to it, but one thing that we did, with our newer players, is we just went through all of our command cards, because everybody's got 1,500 of command cards that they never use, and if I had anything over 8, we just put them in a box, and as new people come in, if they need a card, they can just dig through the box, and anything that's in there is free game. If you get 4 or 5 guys at your store to do that when new players come in, just to get them the upgrade cards that they need to start out, and they can start building a collection that way. I think that's a good thing that can be done to help build the community and overcome some of those problems that we're having.
I like this idea. I'm trying to think. So I've already done this, but the people that I play with also have 1,500 of every single upgrade. But I've actually taken anything over 5 in my upgrades, which is a lot. And I have them in a pile all sorted out. I'm just wondering if there would be an appetite for people, even the people that watch our stream, where I could just probably make a little laundry list of what I have. And if people were looking for things, we would use the honor system, that somebody's not trying to create an eBay stockpile to resell. But I would gladly gift out upgrade cards. And I don't have a local scene in terms of, like I said, a bunch of stuff to give away. But I like what JD's saying. And I would extend that offer from my own collection. If people are looking for upgrades, I have no problem sending people some stuff. I like that. I like to give back. So I like that idea. So thanks, JD, for the idea. And yeah, no, I think that's I like the local scene too. Like it's a little bit of a grab box. If you're going there, you're like, geez, I don't have 3 copies of Stims because I've never really run 3 copies of Stims, and you kind of need one. And you just kind of go to the pool, and if it's there, you grab it, and nobody cares. And it's kind of like a give a card, take a card kind of thing. I like it. Really good.
Yeah.
Stan also thinks it's a great idea. Okay, JD, before we close off the stream here, because I think we're fresh out of college, we still got Seth in here, and Seth's gonna take some notes because he's gonna use it for the commentary. But how are you gonna beat me? I mean, I should say, how am I going to win the game against you? Because I don't like the range limit. Do you have limited visibility in your deck by any chance at all?
Let me think. I think that was like the first cut. Like out of the 8, I think that was like garbage.
You just incinerated that card. Like there's no way you're taking 9 rage furious. I was joking, but half hoping. So, but how am I beating you? How's it gonna happen?
I don't know. I'm kind of doing the same thing as you. I've been busy the last week, and we're going on vacation for a week, me and the wife. So I'm going to have to lay back and see how the other games shake out, and let people reveal all their tech, and then I'm going to jump in and flurry at the end. So
so
I'm kind of taking the same Sean approach. So
gotcha.
So maybe neither one of us will know what each other's doing, and we just.
So I think what we
we'll see how bad the crit dice cheat for you, and then that will determine who wins the game.
Okay, that's okay, fair. I think the real question is though. Now we have to ask Seth if he's okay with streaming 8 games in one day, because it sounds to be that's where we might be. So yeah, that's that might
double
be
Discords 2 at a time.
Yeah. Can you?
We
stream
believe
2
in you,
games?
Seth.
Yeah, there we go. All right. Well, so the linchpin in our pod seems to be how many games Seth can stream on the final weekend. I like it. So I might have to play 2 games of Legion at the same time. That might just be where I'm at. Just 2 games simultaneously. I mean, I feel pretty confident in that I could lose both of those games within 90 minutes. So that seems good. So,
I mean, fair. As long as you guys let me know what day it is, I can try to make it happen. So.
Fair enough. Yeah, that'll be good. No, I'm looking forward to. JD and I have not played. We haven't been in the same pod, with this season.
No, this will be our first one.
Okay, I haven't played Justice. I haven't played you, and I think I played Jake, and I think I played Graham in a practice game, but I don't think I've played him either. So somehow I managed to skirt my way.
I think you and Mr. Woody are the new two for me. So
okay.
Yeah.
No, it's gonna be good. All right, folks. Well, I appreciate y'all coming in. Thanks a lot, JD. Thanks a lot, Seth.
Yep.
We'll catch you guys on the other side. Cheers. All right, Jace, they'll jump out. We'll jump back in the booth here. All right, good show. We didn't go too long over, so I think we hit that 100 minutes, which is good. That was pretty tight. That was a good. So we had JD in there. So we did have 6 callers come in. So look at the odds that they have. Really good one. Jace, do you got a D6 handy? Anywhere close?
I do.
Okay, I have it listed as the following: Justice is 1, Andrew 2, Jake 3, Canadian Bear 4, Seth 5, JD 6. Jace is gonna roll the die, and then he's gonna hold it up on the cam, and then we're gonna tell who wins. This is an easy one for us. You're gonna get a set, by the way, of full card sleeves. So 4 green, 4 blue, 4 red. If you guys want to get your own set, there's only 4 spots left. You guys can jump over to the Patreon if you want them. We'll have some more giveaways, of course, so you can take those chances. Here we go. Jace is going to roll this up. Oh, the dice is cocked, so he has to re-roll. Just kidding.
Yeah, no. we got a 1.
Okay. Look at that. Justice, first-time caller, first-time winner. I don't think he's won. I don't think this is the only time he won, but Justice is in there. Great show, guys. Well, it's even better now that you got yourself a set of card sleeves. So, and Jake in there with the congratulatory. Oh, dang, Justice. So there we go. So Justice hit me up on the Discord. Best to get me your address before you play me, because if you beat me, I might be salty and maybe spell your name wrong, and some other justice in the world will get it. So just kidding. So Stan saying great sleeves. Yeah, I think you'll like getting them. So yeah, good job, James or Jim, coming in with a congratulatory message there. So we do appreciate that. All right, Jace, we'll end off there. Good podcast. Thanks for coming to chat about all things. Look forward to the IG units coming out. As I said, we'll probably look forward to some of the clarifications or just the rules forum entries on exactly how he works. And somebody pointed out earlier, the good news is they're not out yet. And so we'll get all that clarity hopefully before they hit the streets. So another thing I didn't realize, Jace, I'm not sure if you knew, but it looks like GAR and the Invasion Force are out in some parts of the world. And then we have the we have the Echo base and I believe Blizzard Force here in Canada, because I think I have a set setting aside for me at the den right now. So I didn't realize that we were the early ones on that. That's fitting though. I mean, Echo base Canada, we're the snowiest one, one of the fairly snowy parts of the world. So we should get Echo base first. So that makes sense.
Exactly.
Yeah. So and then Striker's saying that the GAR and CRS are his local. So different parts of the world releasing. Maybe that's not a bad thing. So, yeah, there's that. So all right, guys. Like I said, we'll give you a little bit of an update in terms of when that Saturday day or night fight is going to happen. So our apologies that we had to do a little shift, but I think you guys will be okay. You're still getting a game in. Jace is unclear if he's going to be here or not. He's got to sort his weekend plans out. I know we had a shift, so that's understandable that everyone's got to make that shift. I will be here because it's literally my house, so I wasn't going anywhere anyway. And then we'll get Big Jace. And he did assure me today after he said great, he said the shorts are packed. So yeah, we will see the return of the shorts on camera. So like I said, that's either good or bad. Please hide your children and avert your eyes. That's my advice to that. So yeah, we'll see that on Saturday. So all right, guys, well, have a great night. Thanks for watching episode 141 in the books, and moving on to next week's show. All right, have a great night. Cheers.